What we face is the challenge of complexity that is pushing us to the edge and beyond the edge of what we know how to deal with. Have accelerating change that is pushing formal government, wherever you look at it, beyond its capacities, towards the edge of a chaotic failure. And given the forces that are at play, that failure is not merely something that will be manifest at the global level, but at the local or national level, it will be global. And it will include the potential for severe damage to civilization as we know it, and at the end, the possibility of an existential event. Now, those factors were visible when Sheila and I began to work together, which is a long time ago now. But what has happened is that all of this is wrapped in an additional layer of difficulty because of the ongoing effort to demolish American democracy and the withdrawal of America from its previous role as a positive force in the world. So the examples that we have been working on are now pretty well known. But I would say that some of the work that we did identified these things many years ago. With one additional factor that I will point out. We face an increasing risk of nuclear war. Weapons are being piled up still. The capabilities are being enhanced. The number of players is increasing, and there's no sign of any increasing restraint. On the contrary. Climate change, the best I can make out, and bear in mind for whom I worked, is that on the one hand, a great deal of progress is being made as technologies replace carbon. On the other hand, it comes as a terrible surprise to see that Canada, that great and pure country, is one of the two greatest sources of methane being leaked into the atmosphere, and is unlikely to change that course because the use of methane relates to its gas resources, which are a major part of the economy. Moving along, there is a category of difficulty that we face, and that is that before one could consider our technologies out of control, and now, in the current administration, the science underlying those technologies is being debased. And so when we look at what is actually occurring, you have artificial biology with a number of dark sides that offset its promises, and in particular, the possibility that it will be used for military purposes. And I would point out that one of my first jobs in the Foreign Service was to be the Department of State's point person on, among other things, chemical and biological warfare. So I know a thing or two about the subject. The other area where technology and science are running out of control is the field of artificial intelligence, where now some of its greatest pioneers have warned us that if we don't figure out how to constrain it, it will do something to humanity that changes our basic definition of function in the universe. And to this, I would add the fact that these forces still being dealt with in silo form are in fact highly interactive. And the result of that interactivity is to increase the stress on the existing systems for management at precisely the same time that the United States is leading the way towards dismantling them. Faced with all of that, the next question is, what are the available tools? One of them is the concept of anticipatory governance, which is essentially how to create a systemic approach to the incorporation of strategic foresight into policy. The other is the concept of unpolitics and complexity, which I interpret as how to enhance governance to the point where it can deal with the accelerating rate of change in time to encourage the best that it can offer and deflect the worst. And the third is a return to the grassroots, seeing as how our dependence on elites has not exactly led us down the right path. So the question is how to encourage a base of public understanding of and support for complex solutions to complex issues by means that preserve and enhance democracy. And on that point, I would make the following observation. We've come to the point where people have been losing faith in democracy as more than a nice to have if you can if you could get it. In my view, democracy is the way to escape the fate that authoritarianism points us towards. Democracy has the inherent flexibility when it is in good shape to recognize and correct for error. And so a return to the grassroots, to a system that brings the public back into discourse, is not just something that is immoral, it is something that is existential. Now, as to what is the specific objective of this working group, I think it is, and it's taken us a while to get to this point, to find a way to encourage a proof of principle experiment involving prototypes of a roundtable approach designed to help bring the grassroots back into play, connected to a prototype of a network which enables individual roundtables to communicate with each other and, in effect, to become an important moderating force in American politics. And finally, the question is, what's our near-term deliverable? We think that we might be able to produce a handbook that could be useful for individuals who are seeking to establish roundtable processes. And that sounds fanciful, I would add that in an earlier incarnation, when I had the funds, I was working with the World Affairs Councils and demonstrating the possibility of exporting these ideas and setting them up in different parts of the United States. And finally, the question is what the secret sauce here? And I'm not sure the degree to which I've convinced my colleagues, but in my mind, the secret sauce is artificial intelligence, something that I have been very negative about for years, but finally got into and have discovered how to prompt artificial intelligence, how to focus it, how to catch it when it's off base. And our intention is to release the results of some of the work that has been done with it that's pertinent to the subject matter. And that'll be done in the coming next 2 weeks or so after I can review and possibly edit some of the conclusions.